Right when I landed in the street, my back foot like bounced off the board and the board spun me all crazy. And I just like, my whole body was like a catapult and I just smashed my head in the ground. And I'm sitting there and I didn't like pass out or anything that I know of. And then I stood up and my buddy Jake was standing there and he had like filmed it on his phone. And I looked at him and it was like a TV glitch. Like his head, the top half of his head was here and the bottom half of his head was here. Why jump downstairs? Why fall all the time and just rip your skin off and like, why do it? I do it because to me, I tried other things growing up. I had other sports and other things and they were okay. But when I started skating, like it clicked with me, it vibed with me. I couldn't explain it. Like when you know, it just aligned with like my soul and I loved it. And so I kept doing it and I didn't care when I fell. Like when I'd get hurt, I would just want to feel better, right? So I could skate again.
I think the reason that we beat ourselves up and the reason that we go back for more is because you have this drive to like progress and this drive to succeed. It doesn't like scare me after I've broken my arm. It makes me like I want to like land it now. I want to conquer it.
Whether it's skateboarding or baseball, football, any kind of sport or any type of like work that you do, like you want to do better and be better, and with that and skateboarding you kind of see two sides. There's a side of people that really like go on handrails and jump downstairs and they're kind of wild, and you see a whole different side of skateboarding that is just as popular, that is maybe more manual pads and more flip tricks and just unique styles.
I think that if I wasn't doing like something that I really like to do right now, I would be like miserable, and so I think it's worth it to go through all this like beating my body up now while I can, because I can't do it when I'm older.
I did it professionally for 10 years and at that point skateboarders weren't making any money. It wasn't about any type of fame or wealth that you were seeking. It was just like your true addiction to skateboarding.
All my friends growing up, we always were doing something like getting into some mischief or whatever, and like we started out riding our bikes, like we started making jumps and stuff, and that kind of like sparked the competitive nature and like the one-on-one do your own like thing, like, oh, I can jump this at 5 feet, can I do 6 feet, can you do 6 feet? Like it just amplified. And then naturally, like along those lines, I got a skateboard and it was just totally different to me. Like the other things were fun, but within a very short amount of time of starting to skateboard, that was like all I wanted to do.
My brother, definitely watching him and his friends do tricks was pretty cool, because it wasn't like magazines were everywhere and there's no videos or anything. Like they would just do tricks and they had their own style, and it was really cool. It was actually about the time I met Tyrone Olsen. That was when I actually got aboard, and me and Tyrone pretty much like skated together from like that point on,
Growing up, my first skate video, which was a really big deal, this was before YouTube and all that stuff. Like if you got a skate video, you and your friends watched it and watched it a lot. Like it got you so energized to go skate. I'm a little kid, I'm watching these videos and they would just soar off like these huge sets of stairs and rails, and they just look like these majestic beings, like all relaxed, flying through the air, and they're boards are flipping and they're catching them and landing all cool, and like they're just certain dudes that you see them and you're like, you put yourself in their shoes and you just, that's what you want, you know, you want to have those same feelings, and so you start like dressing like them and trying to skate like them, and eventually you're jumping down big stuff and doing all those things that you kind of idolized growing up.
There definitely were like pro skateboarders that influenced the way that I skate, but there were also like friends that played a huge role in how I skate as well, because a lot of times when you skate with your friends, you're skating in the same spots, and so you're doing the same tricks, and then you kind of like feed off each other, and I think they played a bigger role in where I'm at in skating than like idolizing pro skateboarders or whatever. The rate at which we are beating up our bodies is I think like more intense than what the older people in skateboarding were beating themselves up at.
The generational gap of like, you know, skating in the 80s, 90s, and so on, like, you know, the impact and the body damage, I think is a greater risk nowadays than it was when we did it.
I still want to skate every day. Like I love skateboarding, and I still do it. I still do it all the time because skateboarding's taught me so much about life in general. I think that within skateboarding you can experience every different like emotion that you can experience throughout a normal lifetime, all in like one tight-knit little box.
You know, when you've been skateboarding as long as I have and seen the generations go, and you know, it's been over 30 years now, you know, my want and desire to do good in skateboarding and be better, and every aspect since I was, you know, like I think like 15 when I started, like hasn't changed.
I bet you is like 75% of the time, like if I'm just staring off into space or no one's talking to me and you're like, what are you thinking about? It would be like grinding a flat bar or something, you know, just like it is skateboarding like most of the time. And so I guess, yes, it does like free up stress because it's so easy to think about that instead of literally anything else. I'd like enjoy pushing around like a city or whatever, like cruising around, and even like for some, like I love pushing through like crusty gravel. There's something about it, and it's just like I'm not thinking about like this dead end job. I'm not thinking about like this girl that just broke my heart. I'm not thinking about my cat that might die. You know, I'm like thinking like, fuck yeah, I made it through that patch of rocks. You know, like the simplest thing, you know, you're not thinking about all these crazy things that life throws at you. You're just like, I'm just skateboarding. That's it.
You know, as you grow older, you definitely have to prioritize your life, I guess, in terms of I can't get injured, you know, so then I have to skate on a much lower level than I mentally and physically could do.
The only time I'm going to stop skateboarding is when I can't do it anymore. I can't, like, it hurts too much to skateboard. Like, I can never think of what my life would be like if I wasn't doing what I love to do. I think that if you can find something like that in life, then I would consider yourself lucky.
Skateboarding has been one of the most amazing things in my life that I've experienced, and so I hope whatever skateboarding is to you, you find it.